So Leicester City won the FA Cup last week. Brilliant campaign for them. Regardless of if they finish in the top four in the Premier League, doesn't matter. The strides that they have made from the lower leagues to the Premier League has been brilliant. And if I say that they are one of the best run club in the entire Europe, I won't be wrong. They are a top six side in the Premier League. They have the squad, they have the manager at their disposal, and they have a good enough board to support them in their adventures in the top flight. How they can become a top four or a top three contender for the Premier League and might even challenge for the title.
Here's the thing with Leicester City. They are an everyman team. And if you're not a supporter of the actual top four, so let's just name it, let's say Manchester City, Manchester United, and then you've got Chelsea, and then let's say Liverpool, right? So let's say these are the top four. If you're not a fan of these people, you absolutely want Leicester City in the running for the league title. Everyone is sick and tired of all the dynasties always doing what is expected of them and finishing in the top four, right? And then you got the likes of Jamie Vardy. What was he doing, let's say 5 years ago? Where was he? What they were able to achieve, and a lot has to be done and a lot of credit has to be given to Brendan Rodgers. The way he has managed this team with the limited resources they have compared to the big boys of the Premier League is nothing short of spectacular, right? So with the squad that they have, it always gets picked apart by the top four, like expected. So the first thing that the team needs to do is keep its star players. But when you have a young enough core who are coming out and breaking into the world stage at your club, they're bound to leave for higher money when City comes knocking around, or when United comes with their historic value, or even Liverpool at this point, with specifically Klopp as their manager. So the very first thing that Leicester City needs to do in order to maintain a sustained top four finish and even challenge for the Premier League title again is to keep all their players. That's the first thing that I see Leicester City absolutely have to do. Now, obviously, there's room for improvement where you need to add more players in. Now, I've talked a lot about Jamie Vardy, but he is a aging forward. Is there a future past Jamie Vardy for Leicester City? What do you think?
I totally agree with your point. This might be the best time in Leicester's history in their transition to a bigger club that they can actually challenge for the top three of the Premier League, because most of the clubs are in transition. Tottenham have to reconstruct. Manchester United need to recruit more players. Their point difference from the other top three clubs from the second place is not that much. They're on 74, and other teams are also nearing the 70-point mark. So this is the right time for Leicester to invest in players. And you're absolutely right. They need to keep their players like Wesley Fofana and Didi, James Maddison, Harvey Barnes at their disposal, and so they can challenge for the title next season. And they can. They did it with a lesser team in 2015-16 season. They won the Premier League against all odds, and this is the right time, the right way to do that. But let me just go through the transition that they did. When they went to the Premier League after so many seasons, they hired players like Cambiaso, who is an Italian legend. They got Richie Dela, who is a Manchester United Academy youth product. They got Kante, who was making strides in the French league. So they got all these players and they developed them, and they paid off. That paid off. Although they lost Kante, Mahrez, and other players, but still, the recruitment team at Leicester is so good that when they sell a player, they get a very good replacement. They got Wesley Fofana, they got Timothy Castagna, they got Ricardo Pereira. All these players are internationals, and they continue to perform day in, day out. And honestly, if they didn't have injuries this season, Leicester would be probably the second best team in the Premier League this season. So their recruitment is fantastic. Now, when you talk about Jamie Vardy, I think you cannot doubt Jamie Vardy. He, in an interview that he did with an English newspaper, he said that he just drinks a couple of Red Bulls and he's good to go. And he runs all over the pitch looking to poach on chances from the other players. So that is the kind of mentality Vardy has. You keep him at the club as a senior figure in the dressing room. That is the way to go. You cannot just let him go. He's a club legend. Let him retire at Leicester City. Where can he provide his services? I don't think he will play with his heart out at any other club in England other than Leicester City. But this is the time where they can target players like Andre Silva. because when the entire Europe is going after the big names like Sergio Aguero, Luis Suarez, Erling Haaland, Mbappe, this is the time where you pounce on the second best option. If Leicester get Andre Silva over the line, I think that is a brilliant signing, and they might shake up the Premier League with that team, with Ndidi, Tillemans, James Maddison, and Andre Silva. That is as good as any other team in the world. So, what do you think? Do you think this is the right time for Leicester to take that jump to the next stage?
You named it. Tottenham is in transition right now. Liverpool is in a slump right now, right?
Yes.
So I feel like United is going to keep improving, and City is City, right? So those are two shoe-in for top four.
Yes.
Then you got Chelsea, who I feel like are on the same level but are overachieving. They're on the same level as Leicester City, but they're overachieving because of the brilliance of Tuchel. But Tuchel cannot do everything on his own, as we are seeing right now, losing 2-0 to Aston Villa. But then you also got to look out for the likes of Aston Villa and Everton, right? So Premier League is very exciting as of right now. But if not now, then when? I feel like Leicester City has to do something. And making a big signing that can really motivate the rest of your players and give them confidence that the owners are not just riding the high wave, they are actually looking to invest. And they want to take your team to the next level, would give the entirety of the team a boost. And having the likes of Andre Silva, hell, I would argue even Rafael Leao, let's put him in there, right? The guy's got a very high ceiling. And if Leicester City, who's been linked with him somewhat, if they're able to pry him away from Milan, I feel like that's a very good attacking up front options that they've got. And Leao, with the high pace intensity of Premier League football, and he loves to run. So I feel like with a marquee signing up front, that should give the reassurance for Brendan Rodgers' side to challenge from the Premier League title once more.